The Pacific Northwest, a region of striking natural beauty and rich cultural heritage, is also home to one of the most formidable seismic threats in North America. Recent advancements in geological research and modern mapping techniques by the United States Geological Survey, USGS, have shed new light on the region's seismic hazards. These revelations suggest that the Cascadia subduction zone, a tectonic boundary stretching from Northern California to British Columbia, could unleash a catastrophic earthquake at any time. This potential disaster has significant implications for millions of residents, infrastructure, and the environment. The Cascadia subduction zone, located roughly 70 to 100 miles off the Pacific coast, is where the Juan de Fuca Plate converges with and is forced beneath the North American plate. This geological arrangement creates immense tectonic pressure over centuries. When this pressure is released, it results in megathrust earthquakes with magnitudes of 8.0 or greater. The last such earthquake occurred in 1700, leaving behind a silent yet powerful legacy in the form of geological evidence and oral histories among indigenous peoples. Modern mapping has revealed astonishing details about the Cascadia subduction zone's intricate structure and its history of seismic activity. Using cutting-edge technologies such as LiDAR, GPS, and underwater seismometers, scientists have pieced together a detailed narrative of the region's seismic history. These technologies have identified patterns in sediment deposits, coastal uplift, and subsidence, all pointing to a cycle of megathrust earthquakes occurring every 200 to 600 years. The 323-year gap since the last major event falls well within this range, raising concerns that the next one could occur imminently. The potential consequences of a Cascadia megathrust earthquake are staggering. Ground shaking of catastrophic intensity could extend hundreds of miles inland, devastating cities like Seattle, Portland, and Vancouver. The shaking could cause widespread structural damage, collapse buildings, and sever vital transportation and communication networks. Coastal areas face an additional threat: tsunamis. Generated by the sudden displacement of water due to the tectonic rupture, these massive waves could inundate coastal communities within minutes, leaving little time for evacuation. In addition to the immediate physical destruction, a megathrust earthquake would have profound economic and social impacts. The Pacific Northwest is a hub of commerce, technology, and culture, with vital industries such as aerospace, software development, and agriculture. Disruption to these industries could ripple across the global economy. The loss of critical infrastructure, including ports, highways, and airports, would further exacerbate recovery efforts. Moreover, the region's densely populated urban areas would face challenges in providing emergency medical care, housing displaced residents, and restoring basic utilities. One of the most pressing concerns is the preparedness of the Pacific Northwest's infrastructure and population. Despite growing awareness of the seismic risks, many buildings, bridges, and other structures in the region are not designed to withstand the forces of a megathrust earthquake. Retrofitting these structures requires significant financial investment and political will. Schools, hospitals, and emergency response facilities are particularly critical, as their functionality is essential during and after a disaster. Public awareness and education are equally important. Programs aimed at educating residents about earthquake preparedness, evacuation routes, and survival strategies have gained traction in recent years. The Shake Alert System, an early warning network developed by the USGS and its partners, has the potential to save lives by providing seconds to minutes of warning before shaking begins. However, its effectiveness depends on widespread adoption and integration into community planning and individual preparedness efforts. The environmental consequences of a megathrust earthquake also warrant attention. The Pacific Northwest's diverse ecosystems, ranging from coastal wetlands to alpine forests, would face significant disruption. Landslides triggered by the earthquake could destroy habitats, alter river courses, and impact water quality. Tsunamis could inundate sensitive coastal areas, causing long-term ecological damage. The recovery of these ecosystems would require decades, if not centuries, highlighting the interconnectedness of human and environmental resilience. Lessons from other regions prone to megathrust earthquakes, such as Japan and Chile, provide valuable insights. Both countries have invested heavily in earthquake-resistant infrastructure, early warning systems, and community preparedness. Their experiences underscore the importance of proactive measures to mitigate the impacts of such disasters. For the Pacific Northwest, these lessons emphasize the need for a holistic approach that combines scientific research, engineering innovation, and community engagement. The USGS's modern mapping efforts represent a critical step forward in understanding and preparing for the Pacific Northwest's seismic risks. By illuminating the Cascadia subduction zone's hidden dynamics, these advancements provide a clearer picture of what the future may hold. However, translating this knowledge into action remains a formidable challenge. Building resilient communities requires collaboration among scientists, policymakers, engineers, and the public. The potential for a major earthquake in the Pacific Northwest serves as a stark reminder of humanity's vulnerability to natural forces. It also highlights the resilience and ingenuity that can emerge in the face of such challenges. By embracing the lessons of the past and the tools of the present, the region can better prepare for the uncertainties of the future. The clock is ticking, and the stakes are high. The time to act is now. To delve deeper into the specifics, the Cascadia subduction zone's unique geology must be examined. This zone is marked by a series of locked and creeping segments along its length. Locked segments accumulate strain over centuries, while creeping sections release strain gradually through minor tremors. Scientists have identified the southern segment, near Oregon and Northern California, as particularly prone to sudden rupture. This segment's potential to trigger a cascading failure along the entire subduction zone makes it a focus of intense study. The coastal geography of the Pacific Northwest further complicates the seismic risk. Low-lying areas, including parts of Washington, Oregon, and Northern California, are especially vulnerable to tsunami inundation. Emergency planners have identified several tsunami hazard zones where evacuation routes are limited by natural barriers, such as rivers and cliffs. Efforts to construct vertical evacuation structures, such as towers or reinforced buildings, are underway but remain incomplete in many areas. Beyond physical infrastructure, cultural and historical preservation is at stake. Indigenous communities along the Pacific coast have rich traditions and historical landmarks that could be at risk from an earthquake and its aftermath. Tribal nations have been active in advocating for disaster preparedness, emphasizing the importance of preserving cultural heritage alongside human lives. Collaboration between these communities and scientific organizations has led to innovative strategies for integrating traditional knowledge with modern science. The economic implications of a Cascadia megathrust earthquake extend beyond regional borders. The ports of Seattle, Tacoma, and Portland are critical nodes in global trade networks. A major disruption could impact supply chains worldwide, from consumer electronics to agricultural exports. Federal and state governments have recognized this risk, investing in port resilience projects. However, funding gaps and logistical challenges persist, leaving these vital economic hubs vulnerable. Healthcare systems would also face unprecedented strain. In the aftermath of a megathrust earthquake, hospitals could be overwhelmed by a surge in injuries while grappling with damaged facilities and disrupted supply chains. Mobile medical units and temporary field hospitals would become essential, but their effectiveness depends on pre-established logistics and training. Initiatives to stockpile medical supplies and train healthcare workers for disaster scenarios are critical but unevenly implemented across the region. Education plays a pivotal role in long-term resilience. Schools not only serve as centers of learning, but also as community hubs during emergencies. Retrofitting schools to withstand earthquakes and equipping them with emergency supplies can save lives and provide shelter. Programs that teach students about earthquake preparedness have the added benefit of fostering a culture of resilience within families and communities. The psychological toll of a major earthquake should not be underestimated. Survivors often face long-term mental health challenges, including post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. Community support networks and mental health resources are essential components of recovery. Investing in these services before a disaster strikes can help mitigate the emotional and social impacts, enabling communities to recover more effectively. Innovations in technology offer new opportunities for earthquake preparedness. Advances in artificial intelligence and machine learning are enhancing earthquake forecasting models, providing more accurate risk assessments. Drones and robotics are being developed for post-disaster search and rescue operations, while virtual reality simulations are being used to train emergency responders. These technologies, while promising, require substantial investment and coordination to realize their full potential. The role of policy and governance cannot be overstated. Effective disaster management requires clear communication, robust planning, and adequate funding. Federal, state, and local governments must work together to create and enforce building codes, fund retrofitting projects, and support public education initiatives. The private sector also has a role to play, particularly in safeguarding critical infrastructure and supply chains. Finally, the global nature of seismic risk underscores the importance of international collaboration. Sharing knowledge and resources with countries that have experienced similar disasters can accelerate progress. Organizations like the United Nations and the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies have facilitated partnerships that strengthen global resilience to natural disasters. As the Pacific Northwest braces for an uncertain future, the lessons of history and the tools of modern science offer a path forward. The specter of a Cascadia megathrust earthquake is daunting, but it also presents an opportunity to build a more resilient and prepared society. By acting decisively and collectively, the region can reduce the human and economic toll of this inevitable event, ensuring a safer future for generations to come. In the context of emergency preparedness, addressing the needs of vulnerable populations is crucial. Elderly residents, individuals with disabilities, and low-income communities often face unique challenges during disasters. Ensuring that evacuation plans and resources are accessible to all requires a tailored approach. Translating educational materials into multiple languages, establishing community networks, and providing targeted assistance can bridge these gaps and foster inclusivity. Moreover, fostering partnerships between public and private sectors can enhance disaster response capabilities. Private companies possess resources, logistics expertise, and technologies that can complement governmental efforts. Collaborative initiatives, such as public-private partnerships for retrofitting infrastructure or disaster relief funds, can accelerate recovery and reduce the burden on public agencies. Leveraging corporate social responsibility programs also helps build goodwill and resilience. Understanding the psychological and emotional aspects of disaster response is another layer of complexity. Community cohesion plays a pivotal role in post-disaster recovery. Neighborhood associations, faith-based organizations, and local nonprofits often become the backbone of support systems. Their ability to mobilize resources and provide emotional support underscores the importance of grassroots engagement in disaster preparedness. Satellite technology plays a key role in understanding seismic threats. Satellites might be used to measure ground deformation, monitor tectonic movements, or track environmental changes over time, all of which are essential for predicting earthquakes and mitigating their effects.